Good morning, everyone. Jorge here with Avalos Cloud Native and Nexus Technologies. And today's video is going to be about GitLab. We have a playlist for GitLab, for GitHub, for Git, for Promox, for blockchain, hyperledger. So we got a few different ones. Let me show you so you can take a look. If you want to start Docker, feel free to come over here. Promox hypervisor, the introduction of where we're going, what's the plan with Cloud Underground and their main asset, which is the Underground Nexus, which is just a sandbox which you can use to develop anything you want. It is an entire IT box, so you don't need IT. IT is the box, automated. We also have a section for smart contracts. So let's get back to the grind here. So let's go to, let's open PuTTY. So PuTTY is a tool that would let you to do secure connections, SSH connections, serial connections. And in this case, we're gonna go to my server, which is 210. And we're gonna authenticate using SSH. It didn't work. To work now. There you go. So let's see what containers we have here. So we got the hyperledger fabric, right, which is a peer. It says peer in here. You got another peer and here, and then you also have Portainer. So Portainer is the Docker container that allow us to manage all the containers. You can see them. So the same information that you see here on the CLI is the same information you see with Portainer. So Portainer is just a GUI to manage the containers. So you see 1, 2, 3, 4 containers. Now we got 4 containers in here too. So we are running here a blockchain network, but that's not the topic for today. I'm most likely going to be recording all night. It's 3 in the morning over here and all morning too. So let's go and get started with GitLab. So there is 2 versions for GitLab, right? We spoke about it. Let's go to the Jamboard over here. I like using the Jamboard. Oh. Let's go back to that board. There you go. No, this one. This one right here. So this one in here, this one was about Git. This one was about Git. Nothing in here. Promox hypervisor, we spoke about it. GitLab right here. So there's 2 versions. There is a self-hosted version, and there is a SaaS version. The SaaS is when they manage the server for you out there, a remote server. The GitLab server or the self-hosted, I'm gonna have it home. So apparently you can install it on a Docker container. And if you go to Docker Hub, right, which is a repository for containers, Docker containers, they have a container over here that you can use and launch an instance of GitLab. What is GitLab? This is a tool that will help you to do the continuous integration, continuous delivery or deployment, automating your tasks, your sequence for anything you're building, and also doing vulnerability scanning for the codes and getting people to work securely and to manage projects. It just makes your life so easier. So let's say if you're installing a new version of a system that you need to bring to production, you can test it, automate it, and bring it to production with GitLab. So this is my first time installing GitLab actually. So I'm just gonna go with on the fly here. Most people, they love to use the container. And also there is a script here. So remember, ChatGPT now is your best friend. If you're not leverage AI right now, like everyone is doing for whatever you're doing right now, then maybe it's time to start using it. So I'm just gonna copy this full command in here, which this one will, it will go there. It will install the EE version. So I'm wondering, there's also a CE version. Maybe I can change that. Maybe if I come over here to the repository for Docker, the CE means a community edition. So what about if I just copy the full script that I see here from ChatGPT and I change that, right? So I'm gonna open a text file over here. It's a little bit slow. I'm gonna close all these so otherwise we don't get too confused. My computer is lagging a little bit today. Maybe the scanning, the antivirus is running. I'm just gonna open a new tab here. I'm gonna copy that command in here. I'm going to ChatGPT. ChatGPT is here. I'm gonna copy the full script, reopen that file, the first one, and this is ChatGPT, and I'm going to basically just copy this edition instead. It doesn't say laters in here. It only says copy. So there's different tagging in here. There is the community edition nightly. There's another edition here from 3 days ago. There is one from 5 hours ago. This one is 1.5 gigabytes, and they call it nightly. AMD. So this is how you check the versions, the architecture of the architecture for the processor or CPU. So there is a few different versions lately. It's quite confusing here. So this one was 3 days ago. This one was 3 days ago. So they constantly updating this. I'm just gonna go for the latest version. Maybe. And I guess it will know what to choose. There is no such a thing as, oh, this one latest. Maybe this one. This one was 3 days ago. So I'm going to install this one here. Okay, this one said later. So maybe these ones are just beta version, or the truth is that this one is coming from themselves. I mean, like, this is not someone creating the containers. So you come, let's go to the file and let's edit this. So I want to install the latest version. Like this. So let's copy this. Now let's go to the computer that is already having Docker container, right? And let's paste this in there. So we had Docker in this machine. We're gonna pull GitLab Self Hosted version. This is gonna create the volume automatically. You can see that in there, right? For the logs, for the data, for the configuration, it's going to restart, and it's gonna give it a name. I would love to change the port just in case. I would love to change the port because you never know if one day I'm going to host a website, and most likely my website will be basically 443, right? That's a regular port for HTTPS. So you can also publish on port 22. Wow, I don't want to do that because I may be doing, no, I think it's okay. So let's try that. 1, 2, 3. Hopefully it works straight out of the back. So enter the password. Hopefully no errors. It's pulling the image. It's working. And we'll see if it's going to spin the GitLab self-hosted version. Once we have the GitLab, right, so we can play with the continuous integration, continuous deployment, continuous delivery, and maybe we can install some GitLab runners, right? And there is also GitLab executors, and we can connect them and automate some computers, right? So let's learn all this together. And if you have GitLab experience, if you have Kubernetes experience, if you have Docker experience, if you have AWS experience, Google Cloud Platform experience, Microsoft Azure experience, you know how Jenkins works, you know how Git works, GitHub, you know any programming language, or maybe you're not a programmer, maybe you just want to be a platform engineer. You configure all this, you automate it, and now you got a great career ahead of you. So with us here, which is, I got my own company, which is Lake Cloud Canada, we're gonna have a marketplace of applications. So developers are going to come to this sandbox that I will host at home, and they're all gonna have access to the same GitLab. We're gonna manage all these, like the underground nexus and IT box, which is automated. You have a security operations center built in, GitLab built in, Apache system. People do connectivity using Zero Trust, Cockpit. So everything is 100% taken care of by the box. Sorry. If a Docker container have problems, where GitLab is taking care of that with the runners and with the executors. Okay. So it is still downloading. There is a new image apparently. All right, so something failing there. It says here, error response from daemon. Driver failed programming external connectivity on endpoint, GitLab, failed proxy. All right, so that's okay. The daemon for hopefully only for port 22, it fell, maybe, but I need 443. So I'm wondering if 443 is worth, actually 444. So if we have portainer using 9000, let's see if GitLab is running. First of all, you can see in there, it did fail. It didn't even start. Why? Because port 22 is being used. So what about if we just delete this container? Let's delete it. You can delete this container from the GUI. You see, you can use the GUI or you can use the CLI. So let's go to images again. And I'm just going to delete it again so there is no space in there. I don't want this to be taking space. And I'm going to run the command, but because I'm using port 22, maybe I don't want to pop up. Should I use, like, port 22 is being used by this machine that I'm using, so it's already taken. So I'm just going to maybe I'm gonna change the port to something different. I don't know if, let me go back. I don't know if this will allow something like port 25 for SSH connection. We may be in problem over here, but I'm accessing the main computer. So what's happening? This is the problem right now. This SSH connection that I have right now here is to the main host that have Docker, and just because I'm trying to publish port 22 for a Docker container and not the main host, the Docker container does not want to start because it is telling me, hey, listen, you're already using port 22. So I'm just gonna publish something else so it doesn't give me troubles. Either way, I don't need to do SSH connection to my GitLab because I'm gonna use something else for connectivity. So let's give it a try and see what happens. And in the meantime, let's go back to that presentation. So we talk about GitLab runners. So what are GitLab runners? So basically, there is two different kinds. There is self-managed and shared runners. The shared runners are for the SaaS version, okay? So we're not talking about shared runners. We're talking about self-managed runners. So basically, this is like agents that will be executing those different commands that you're gonna be sending or automating for communication from the self-hosted GitLab server. Okay, and there is also executors, which they will help you to execute whatever you're trying to do. And there is different kinds. There is a different ways of how you can execute all those commands and all those tasks that you have. You can use a Docker containers for the machine. You can use Kubernetes. You can use SSH. You can use a virtual machine. right? In this case, SSH, I think that I block port 22 to change that to port 25. I don't think I'm gonna use SSH. I may use Kubernetes because I may be clustering a lot of stuff. So this is 124 gigabytes. So since I'm going to be using Kubernetes, so what's gonna happen is I may have 2 Ubuntu machines, okay? And these 2 Ubuntu machines will have, one will be the GitLab server, which is this one here, in a container, right? And then I may deploy an Ubuntu machine and connect. I'm going to install a GitLab runner. So the GitLab runner and also the executor can connect to the GitLab server, self-hosted server. So this is really important because when you're looking for work, you can answer questions. A simple question like that, okay, you told me that you know GitLab. So what is a runner? What is a Docker? What is Kubernetes? How do you execute those tasks from GitLab? You can easily answer. You can say, oh, I use Kubernetes, I use SSH, I use Docker. So you know what? Whoever doesn't work with any pipeline right now or CI/CD pipeline right now, you know what? It's hard to get hired. It's really hard. You need to understand all this. This is essentials, basically. Essentials. You see what happened with the container. There you go. I did not get any errors this time. No errors because I changed the port because it was being used by the host. So -16. Let's see if the container is running. It is starting. It's starting. That's a good news. Starting 444 because I changed the port. Right? Let's wait until it finishes. In the meantime, you can say here docker ps. And now the GitLab server should be here. Nice. So let's wait until it finishes. I would love to see the GUI. I'm gonna pause it here while it finishes, okay? All right, so looks like it did finish everything. So we can see GitLab in here. Like we said before, we can see the GitLab container is healthy. And also, if we try to get access to the GUI using only HTTPS, then we see the community edition already installed. And this is just a container, so there is no default password. You have to say root, no password, and then what? No password? I thought that maybe root. Let's give it a try here. One second. So looks like the default password have to be created. So what we need to do, we're gonna run this command. So sudo docker. So this is just to get access. We're gonna get access to the container, and then we're gonna basically, once we get access to the container, it's that one command to get access to the container for GitLab and also to reset the password. Okay. So let's click in here. It should be prompting us. This is the first time doing this for a self-hosted manage GitLab container. It's taking a little bit of time for some reason. And I'm just trying to switch from Ubuntu desktop to the GitLab server container. And then from there, I can reset the password. That's the idea. But it's taking too long. So it looks like it is responding now. So let's do routing here. Enter password. So I'm gonna enter the password here. See what it wants. Enter password. Looks like we got a new password. All right, so let's go now to enter the password over here. There you go. So now we have a new Docker container which it was made by GitLab, and this GitLab is a container hosting a self-hosted version of GitLab. So now you know how to use this. You can create new projects, new groups, and we're gonna go to a master class of this. I'm gonna be posting more videos on how to use GitLab, how to create sequences, projects, groups, how to automate your pipeline, how to manage containers, how to do Kubernetes from here, how to integrate with GitHub, GitLab, and much more. Right, so thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Jorge here with Cloud Natives and Nexus Technologies, and have a good day.